Black Flag Activity Report, Tyler Greene. Tyler Greene had been on bond out of Phoenix, Arizona. Tyler had been on bond for 2 weeks when we got the call from a family member telling us that both he and his pregnant girlfriend were actively using heroin. The family member detailed to us that Tyler had recently broken into their home and stolen multiple items. They said that Tyler was out of control and that he and his girlfriend, who was 7 months pregnant, were not going to stop injecting heroin. Tyler also had a probation violation, which resulted in an active warrant for his arrest. So now, Tyler was out of compliance with the bond company for drug use and also had a felony warrant issued for his arrest. In Arizona, when someone is felony warrant, we can pursue them anywhere. The night after receiving this information, we tracked down the rental car he and his girlfriend were using. After placing a GPS tracking monitor on it and watching the house that the vehicle was parked at, we were able to get visual identification on both Tyler and his girlfriend. Tyler had come outside to get something from the vehicle at about 10 a.m. and then went back inside the residence. Shortly after, a person who turned out to be a roommate exited the residence and drove to a nearby gas station. We sent one of our agents to the gas station to speak with the roommate and confirmed both Tyler and his girlfriend were inside the home. The roommate, who was the owner of the home and scared about possible drug charges for themselves, told us they would go back to the home and let us in so we could apprehend Tyler. They told us that they were scared for their own safety because Tyler was known to have a volatile temper and experience sudden mood swings due to either his drug use or mental instability. They asked us if we were going to arrest them personally or anyone else in the house because there was a lot of drug use and sales going on in the home. We told them no, and that we were simply interested in picking up the person who was on our list. And aside from the pregnant girlfriend using heroin, we had no other concerns or intentions for anyone else in the residence. We assured them that we would be in and out. The way they ran their trap house was not what we were there for. We did inform them that it would not be a bad idea to examine their life choices and that allowing people to use and sell heroin inside of their home was not the best of decisions, especially women who were pregnant. My agent, who was at the gas station with the roommate, told me the plan and then headed back to the home where we were still sitting and doing surveillance. When they got back to the house, the roommate opened up the garage and was instructed to wait outside with one of our agents. We entered through the garage door and made our way through the hallway to the room where Tyler and his girlfriend were staying. The door was locked, but after pushing on the frame, the door popped open. Inside, Tyler was sitting on the floor with a needle in his hand and tourniquet on his arm. His girlfriend, who was visibly pregnant, large belly and all, was laying on a red beanbag across from him. She was taking a needle out of her arm, and she was pale and sweating, with her brown hair matted down to the sides of her cheeks. A look of shock washed over both of them seeing me and my team enter the room. Although his girlfriend was not able to move very much, she dropped the needle. Tyler did not and had to be told multiple times to put the needle down. Once the beanbag gun was leveled at him, he complied and put both of his hands straight up in the air in a delayed response, almost like he couldn't understand what was happening. Tyler was stood up, turned around, and put into handcuffs. He was wearing sweatpants that were 3 sizes too big and nothing else. Inside his left pocket was an 8-ball of heroin. His girlfriend, who was too high to communicate properly, asked if she could keep the dope. We said no and informed her that we were calling Child Protective Services and that she would need to have a conversation with Phoenix police officers who were en route to the property. We found Tyler's sandals and put them on him. I informed Tyler why he was being taken into custody and escorted him out to the transport vehicle, which, on that day, just so happened to be my personal vehicle. Over the years, I've learned a lot about fentanyl, heroin, and meth. You see, people who use heroin will likely use other drugs when they can't get their fix. It's quite common to see a heroin addict use meth and even fentanyl if they can't get their dope. But a meth user typically won't use heroin if they can't get their drugs. Also, a heroin addict can get away with using 1 to 2 shots per day without getting sick because it lasts a lot longer. Fentanyl, however, is like the crack cocaine of opioids. It lasts for a couple hours. So fentanyl users typically use it back to back and throughout the day. One of the reasons it's so damaging to the user. Fentanyl is a horrible drug. So is heroin and meth, but fentanyl is on another level of addiction. It simply steals people's happiness from them. While en route to 4th Ave jail, Tyler told me that he had not been able to get his shot that day and that he was going to have water butt, which meant he had to shit, which meant right now. We were on the I-10, a very busy interstate that runs through Arizona. During that time of day, there was a lot of traffic. I breathed heavy and weighed the options. It was either ignore him and let him shit his pants in my truck or pull over and let him do it right there on the interstate. Tyler was squirming around and making that, oh my God, I need a shit face. So I pulled over, walked over to his door, got him out, and walked him over to the median. I did my best to hide him, but he was in shackles and handcuffs. There was really no hiding on a 7 to 14 lane highway. Because he was in cuffs, I had to pull his pants down for him and hold him under his armpits so he could squat. I didn't think it was humanly possible for someone to project watery shit that far. If there had been a competition for how far someone could shit, Tyler would have made the Olympic teams. Tyler sprayed shit out of his backside at least a good 8 feet. People were swerving on the highway trying to get away from what they had just seen. Even though it was on the side of the road, I think people were just trying to get away from it. I was surprised it didn't get called into local news stations. With no way to wipe himself, I stood him back up and pulled his pants back on. This is one of the reasons I keep large beach towels in the back of my truck. You learn a lot about transporting people doing this job. This happened one other time before we got down to county jail. I mean, seriously, Jesus fucking Christ. As funny as it might be to listen to this story, keep in mind that this was a tragic case. Too many people nowadays are lost in drugs. This affects families, friends, children, and burdens the already packed legal system, a system that I'm convinced is not working. I can't stress this enough. Drugs, homelessness, mental illness, and child abuse are factors we face in our societies, and it's truly a tragedy. The key takeaways from Tyler's story: don't use drugs, don't abuse children. I later found out that Tyler's girlfriend lost her rights to her child after that day, like she should have, but that child is now affected for the rest of its life due to their mother's selfishness. That child likely might go on to burden our society. I hope that's not the case, but it's a vicious cycle. Tyler was taken to 4th Ave and booked into Maricopa County Jail.